It is good to see you. It is good to be back. Welcome to day 32 of the Great CICO experiment. This is the first day back from our trip to visit our family, so it's time to go stock up on groceries. Let's do this. So the trip to the Carolinas, amazing. The trip to visit my family, amazing. I think I've proven that you can travel, that you can vacation, that you can have fun and eat delicious foods and explore and not fall off plan. However, it is good to be back into routine for the next couple months at least. Things should be in a pretty steady routine, workout wise, meal wise, as we continue this experiment, eating the standard American diet and getting ripped. And it's always kind of exciting and fun, these little store trips. That was something for 10 years when I was serious into bodybuilding and only eating good foods. It got to be very repetitive. There was always chicken, there was always beef, there was always rice, there was always vegetables, and that was kind of the majority of it, eggs. But now going into the store, it's a clean slate. I have a general idea of what I want, like I want certain cereals or chips or things like that. But really, it's kind of whatever hits my fancy when I get to the aisle, just so that I have enough for a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and maybe some snacks throughout the week. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Let's get in the store. All right, let's get this done. Time to save money and live better. I got my little shopper helper with me as well. So started off looking for some chicken. No longer do I do grilled or boiled boneless, skinless chicken. We get the good stuff. Now for breakfast, sometimes I'm going to be making waffles, as Donkey would say. Some Eggo blueberry waffles, delicious. And I got to have something for the Mrs. Buttersworth. So I also like to have beef on hand, so I got some beef for burgers. Got some turkey lunch meat so I could make some turkey sandwiches. That's always a quick, easy meal with some good protein. Got some eggs, double check to make sure they're not broken. Few times a week. I used to eat eggs every single day. Now it's a few times a week. And then cereal-wise, I had a YouTube comment recommending Frosted Flakes be my next choice. So I decided to go for it. Thank you so much for the recommendation. And as you know, they're great. Though Tony the Tiger stare, a little creepy. But anyway, moved on. Watermelons are getting ripe now that we're in June. So looking for watermelon. Not sure the way to find the best one. Let me know if you have a good way to find one, but I lucked out. It was great. And we went after some dessert. I was feeling carrot cake, so we picked that up. Absolutely phenomenal. I love carrot cake. All right, grocery haul complete. Got some fantastic things. I am especially excited about that carrot cake. As a famous queen once said, let them eat cake, and I shall enjoy that cake. So the total for a week's worth of food for me came out to $49. So obviously that's still stacking on whatever is left from last week's haul. Still have a few things here and there, but that seems to be pretty consistent, is about $50 a week on my grocery budget. So for those of you who say you can't make progress, you can't get lean, you can't get ripped without spending a lot of money on fancy diet foods or whatever, baloney. I'm enjoying everything I'm eating. I'm clearly making progress, and we're on a good budget too. Take those excuses and squish. My nose is shiny. Oh well. Now that the shopping is out of the way, let's dive into the meals. We started off the morning breakfast with 3 of those delicious blueberry Eggo waffles, 2 whole eggs, and of course, with our sweet, lovely Mrs. Buttersworth. So beautiful. So we very much enjoyed those waffles. It is really hard to beat a pancake, waffle, or French toast breakfast. So the eggs were good too, but you already know, star of the show, gonna be the waffles. For lunch in our pre-workout meal, we decided to make ourselves a turkey sandwich with some good old processed American cheese, lettuce, tomato, apple slices, and a couple fruit slices thrown in there as well. Little extra sugar for the workout. Turkey sandwich hits the spot, just so simple, basic American goodness. And the apple, crispy, delicious. And the fruit slices, sugary, sweet, nice little desserty way to finish off the meal. Though it does annoy me how many calories are in just 2 fruit slices. It's crazy. Then for our intra-workout, we mixed up our NutriCost creatine monohydrate, went to the gym, had a great workout. You can see awesome pump going on after the workout. Super excited to see the continued progress I'm making. It's crazy that I am losing weight, maintaining muscle on the standard American diet naturally. It's turning out even better than I expected. But we still have about, 50 something days to go. So excited about the pump though. Hope you guys are too. For post-workout, we had a scoop of NutriCost whey protein and a bowl of Frosted Flakes. Again, thank you so much to the YouTube recommendation for that because they were indeed great. For dinner, we had ourselves a homemade burger, a couple of chips, a few slices of watermelon, and I had to crack into that carrot cake. I couldn't resist. So I cut it into sixths. According to the box, a sixth of the cake is 300 calories, so that is how I'm going to be keeping track of that. Of course, I always love a good indoor burger barbecue picnic, chilling, watching a little bit of TV with the wife, and the cake was amazing. So good meals, good workout. So let's go ahead and dive into the mindset portion of today's video. And today we are going to be covering what to do if you fall off track for a couple days. So as I mentioned in my last video, I traveled up to visit my family. That was a wonderful time. Got to see my family, my wife's family, just an amazing time. However, as many of you know, whether it's for business or for pleasure, traveling can be hectic when it comes to exercise and diet. Getting into the gym, staying on track with your diet. Obviously, when you're hanging out with your family, there's a lot of times going out to eat at restaurant, ordering food in, cooking fun stuff, not to mention just the logistics of travel, getting on an airplane, driving to and fro. So let's dive into how some tips to help tackle travel, but also what to do if you get off track. As you'll see in just a second, spoiler alert, I did. First of all, let's cover the workouts real quick. So just like vacation, I'm not going to stress about going to the gym when I'm traveling for fun. Now, it just so happened that my gym workouts timed out. I'm working out Monday and Thursday in the gym. We left Thursday evening, so I was able to get my Thursday morning workout in, so I didn't have to worry about that. The only thing that I tried to do was to stay as active as possible during the trip, whether that was walking through the airport and carrying around my 1.5-year-old, going for walks with my brothers to hang out with them, trying to stay outdoors and active as much as possible rather than just sitting around the entire time. Now, as far as diet goes, this is where it got a little bit interesting. So if you're traveling for business, it can be pretty easy to stay on calorie tracking or diet. It's business focused. All you have to do is be a little bit prepared. However, when you are hanging out with your family, there does tend to be a lot of dishes or a calorie amount that is off plan. Whether it's door dashing in food, your family cooks a big meal for you that you expect you to eat, you're there for the holidays, whatever it may be, it's easy to get off plan when you're enjoying meals and time with your family and friends. So, what do you do about that? First of all, let me tell you what I did with this trip. I didn't stress about it, I didn't worry about it, and I just enjoyed it. The Thursday during the flight there, I stayed on my calories, 2,400 or below. I tracked that. When we arrived, it was my brother-in-law's birthday. So had a couple pieces of pizza and a cupcake. And then I was looking up like the calories online for the specific pizza company and all that. And I realized this is just kind of silly. I want to enjoy this time with my family and with my friends. I don't want to be looking up every single calorie of every single off-menu food. And let me tell you, there were a lot of foods that were ordered in. So there's not just calories on the back of the package. So what I did was I didn't stress and worry about it. And that is what I would recommend. However, that falls within some parameters. First of all, I did not take this as an excuse to pig out and just sit around and eat the entire time. So just because I wasn't worried about tracking my calories or exactly how much I was eating didn't mean that I ate until I stuffed. It didn't mean that I was eating 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day for all 3 of those days. None of that. I just ate whatever food there was that I knew that I would enjoy. I ate a good healthy portion size until I was just starting to feel full, and then I stopped and I was good and I was satisfied until the next meal. So like I mentioned, there was pizza and cake for my brother-in-law's birthday. At some point during the trip, there was Chinese that was ordered. There was bibimbap that was ordered. There was homemade cheesecakes. There was ice cream. So there was all sorts of fun things that you can enjoy. And again, if you're going on your trip and you're spending like 2 hours of your day trying to search every single calorie, you're stressed about it, that's taking away from the enjoyment of your family, don't do that. That's silly. This lifestyle, fitness, health, tracking your nutrition, all of that should be about bettering your life, not putting yourself in this tiny little box that makes you feel super claustrophobic and sucks all the fun and deliciousness out of your life. It's not about that at all. However, again, just fall within the basic parameters, eat until you're comfortably full, be reasonable. You're not eating 6 meals a day, 1,000+ calories each. This isn't about a free-for-all. This isn't about throwing away all the progress that you've made. It's just about relaxing a little bit, not worrying about tracking, and basically eating around maintenance. And maintenance is exactly what happened to me. So I stepped on the scale the day after we got back from the flight. I was up 1.5 pounds, part of it probably water retention from the flight and just from the different foods that I was eating in the higher amounts. The day after that, I stepped on the scale and I was exactly the same weight. So my goal, as I've stated before, is to lose between 1 pound to 2 pounds every single week throughout this experiment. Obviously, this trip threw that off track. However, you've got to look on the bright side. A lot of people, if they're eating off plan or have a holiday, they look at the scale and they freak out. They might be up 3, 4, 5 pounds in a matter of a couple days. And then one of two things usually happens. One, they either decide, oh, well, I might as well just go all in for this entire holiday season. They eat a crazy amount of calories for an entire month and gain 10 or 15 pounds or even more. Or the second thing is they decide to punish themselves for going off plan and not making progress and starve themselves for the next couple days, eating way less calories or trying something crazy or intermittent fasting if they're not used to it, going on a protein fast, whatever it might be. And all that leads to do is, first of all, psychological damage. That's not a good mindset to approach this whole fitness and nutrition thing with. But also, it tends to lead to even more binging issues later on down the road. So you starve yourself for, let's say, a day or two. All your body is doing is releasing ghrelin, is making you hungry. You're miserable, your energy is down. So you decide to eat food again. As soon as you eat the food, it hits you and it's just like, and then you go crazy again. And you're in this yo-yo cycle of eating too many calories, eating not enough calories. And that's just not a good place to be in physically or mentally. So what I recommend and what I do is just get back on plan. That's it. You had a day, a couple days, or whatever to enjoy with your family and friends. You ate a reasonable amount of calories because you didn't just go and binge and make a glutton of yourself. And you enjoyed it. You enjoyed whatever foods you ate. You didn't worry that they weren't on plan. You didn't track every single calorie. You just ate till you were comfortable just before being full, and you had a good time. That should leave you around maintenance, maybe up a little bit. And as soon as you get back, you just get back on plan and start making progress again right away. And that's what I did, and that's what's happening. So because of the lack of progress this week, we're going to save check-ins for next week when I know that I'll have something to show for it. We're not going to worry about it or stress about it this week. However, I am back to tracking every single meal, every single calorie. The great CICO experiment, goes on. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this video. It is good to be back. As always, let me know if you have any thoughts or questions on any of this in the comment section down below, and I would be happy to hear from you and address that. And I will see you in the next video.